Attention viewers, there is a tsunami advisory in effect. We saw a 7.5 magnitude earthquake just happened while we're at the end of our show prep process. 7-point magnitude earthquake near Tonga. It was only at an estimated depth of 21 miles, 33 kilometers. It came in at 10:48 Universal Time. And we're just seeing the reports rolling in now, so let's see what Guam has to say. Here's the tsunami.gov report from Guam. Based on all available data, there is no tsunami threat to Guam, Roatan, or Tinian. Not expecting tsunamis from that, but there you go. There's your report. Tsunami advisory is in effect because of a 7.5 magnitude earthquake near Tonga. It came in at 10:48 Universal Time this morning, Friday, November 11th. It's 11:11. So just so you're aware of that. As usual, we'll be looking at space and the weather therein, as we do on the regs. Thanks for leaving a comment, BMVR13. And thanks for tuning into the Smash News Network, least busted name in news. So this is one of our favorite composites. This is 171 plus 335 angstroms. We saw a series of flares. A 6-shooter of solar flares came in this morning, including one M-class flare. We'll get to that. Let's take a closer look at that series of sunspots there in the northern hemisphere. Spectacular imagery there from SDO. So a little uptick there in solar activity. Did it produce any coronal mass ejections? We'll get to it. You can certainly see some plasma collapsing back down toward the chromosphere. We've got some missing data from SDO here with respect to the intensity gram for whatever reason. A little bit of umbral growth happening there, a little bit of evolution of those sunspot groups. We'll show more detailed imagery of that a little bit later on in the video. So moving to volcanoes next. If you're wondering what's erupting, so are we. Dukono, now on the list as it explodes. Flight level 070 over the Isle of Halmahera. Popocatépetl, flight level 230, it's exploding as well. Central Mexico, 23,000-foot ash plume. Fuego, Guatemala, 17,000-foot ash plume as Fuego explodes. Nevado del Ruiz exploding, flight level 230, 23,000-foot ash plume. Sangay also exploding, flight level 210 from Sangay, it's a 21,000-foot ash plume over Ecuador. Revenador, 15,000-foot ash plume from Revenador as it explodes. Last but not least, Sabancaya exploding, flight level 220, a 22,000-foot ash plume is nothing to pole vault. So there you go, seismic activity back in the high range here. A 7 magnitude earthquake, 7.5 magnitude actually. There is a location of that one. It's actually northeast of Tonga. Northeast of Tonga. That's 7.5 at 10:48. Just at the end of our show prep process. And let us know in the comments if some YouTuber claims to have forecasted it. So perhaps a prime example there of foreshocks. Not completely sure on that one, as we don't spend too much time on that. There are a lot of other things to do. We'll be going over cosmic rays today. And it's been downgraded to a 7.1. Back to space. Here's another great composite. This is 1,700 angstroms plus 193 angstroms. See lots of activity there. some flaring kicking up from sunspot 3141. Here's 304 angstroms, one of the classic wavelengths. The 10.7 centimeter radial flux has come up to 139 solar flux units. That is a 1-year graph. To put it in context for you, the black line is the radial flux. And Space Weather Enthusiast dashboard forecasting a little bit of geomagnetic unrest late in the day today, early in the day tomorrow, from a coronal hole high-speed stream, I guess. That's what it says. Okay. Let's take a moment to look at Earth's magnetic moment from space. It's our geospace magnetosphere movie, the last 4 hours. And no, Earth's magnetosphere is not shutting down. There it is. There's the model of it. It uses a lot of variables to create this space weather modeling framework. The sun's not going to kill you, and the galaxy is not going to make the sun explode. People are frightened of an active sun, of an inactive sun, maybe even a medium activity sun, I'm not sure. I think people just like to be frightened. They lap up a lot of nonsense on YouTube. Here's Earth's magnetic moment from the ground. And no, we don't see all kinds of evidence of huge pole shifts happening. We do see some magnetic pulses coming out of the Indian Ocean, as we see on the regs. And you can see from where those red spots are located, the most likely places to see pipeline induction, rail line induction, power line induction, and the aurora. What we don't see is Earth's poles around the equator. Let us know in the comments if you're frightened of the geospace magnetosphere movies or the ground magnetic perturbations map. KP index, a measurement of global geomagnetism here at 2.67. Geomagnetically calm conditions at the moment. Here's the current situation. We just did have a little shift in the BZ. The BZ went highly positive here. Current conditions for BT-BZ are 9 for the BT and positive 8 for the BZ. That's the vertical component of the magnetic field as measured at Lagrange point 1. Current solar wind conditions are about 14.5 protons per cubic centimeter. Solar wind speed, 330 kilometers per second. Does look like a minor coronal hole wind stream showing up here with that small increase in the density. Here are the GOES magnetometers. Seeing a little bit of a divergence there around midnight local time for the GOES 17. That's what the M means. That's midnight local time for the GOES 17. And those arcjet moments are the GOES 16 maneuvering to maintain its geosynchronous near equatorial orbit. Take a look at some more magnetic data. Here is the heliospheric current sheet. Earth is right in the middle of a South Pole current sheet, shown there in red. North Pole current sheet on the opposite side of the sun, shown there in green. Next, the line of sight field plot. There you go. Solar polar fields shown in red and green. Green for north, red for south. The solar B field shown in blue. Next, we'll move to coronal holes. We've got a smirking smiley face feature there in the coronal hole imagery. And coronal holes are not well defined. Here's the SDO 211 angstroms wavelength for the past 24 hours. Next we'll move to sunspots. So a new sunspot got named down here. It's very minor, 3144. Also 3143 got a name here. Not excited about that. There's a possible sunspots forming in these areas here. I think this area may have some tiny umbrae at the moment, The place to watch is certainly sunspot 3141. And we'll show you an extreme close-up of that. First, the 193 plus 1700 angstroms wavelength. Some umbral migration happening here. You can see this umbra moving at a faster rate than the one to its north. The sun does rotate faster at the equator than it does at the poles. There's a great view of the solar magnetogram. Looks like a little bit of growth happening there at the leading portion of sunspot 3141. And here is the last 24 hours. Let's let that play through one more time. That's pretty spectacular. We have that moved over to the left so you can see the overhang over here, so you have a better idea of what part of the sun that's located on. And see this umbral migration happening up here, increasing the likelihood of flares. So it is a significant uptick there with the complexity of those sunspot groups. Likelihood of continued large flares remains very high. Likelihood of coronal mass ejections remains nearly 100%. So let's get to energetic particles. There's the proton flux around Earth. And let's move to cosmic rays. We haven't covered it for a while here. We try to do it at least once a week. So here is the cosmic ray profile of DOMB Antarctica, going as far south as we get to this, around the South Geographic Pole region. And we see a downtick there at DOMB Antarctica. DOMC Antarctica also showing a similar downtick. Oulu, Finland. Also a downtick at Oulu, Finland over the past 30 days. I would also note this area right here. You see these swings. Those were real. Those happened at several different cosmic ray monitors. So let's back up. We'll go way down south to the land of Mexico. You can see wild swings there. Between November 4th and November 9th. Overall, over the past 30 days, a downtick at Mexico City. Let's go a little farther north to Greece. Greece actually showing an uptick there. And let's go back north to Apatity and Barentsburg. Downtick at Apatity for the past 30 days. And also a downtick at Barentsburg. So there's your cosmic ray update. Citing fact after fact on the channel. And if you enjoy the content, take a moment to press like, press subscribe, etc. Consider becoming a member of the Smash Team at smashamash.com/SmashTeam. If you want the email alerts and so on, they get sent out even to bronze level members. Join at the gold or silver level if you'd like to be an executive producer of the content. smashamash.com/SmashTeam. We replace Patreon with a superior subscription services site, our own. And you can find all kinds of links there as well. Thanks to the Smash Team. Make sure you follow us on Twitter. If you don't have an account, get an account on Twitter. Get an account on Twitter. Are you familiar with the shakeup with the blue check marks? Yeah, the shakeup with the blue check marks. It's hilarious. Now anybody can just buy a blue check mark, which completely ruins celebrities' use of the platform. I find it absolutely hilarious that now any noob can just pay Twitter $8 and have a blue check mark for an entire month. It's hilarious. And it's making it relatively unusable for the preferred class, the people who think they're in charge of your reality. So join Twitter. I doubt we'll be ever purchasing a blue check mark. I think it's absolutely idiotic. And if you think Elon has fixed censorship and free speech, you are fooling yourself. You will find our Hemp Lucid link on the Twitter profile, by the way, right there. If you click on that, you'll find that the Black Friday sale continues. If you haven't tried the Delta 8 gummy cubes, Put on your safety belts before you before you try those. Don't operate motor vehicles until you know what the effects will be. It seems like it might be a bad idea. Anyway, there are the best sellers. The water-soluble CBD tincture. Lots of products there, including things like lip balm, body balm, and lots more. Reishi mushroom products. Buy them via our link. They make great gifts, just like the items in our merch shop. Save 20 to 60% site-wide. And do it now because time's running out. There are our items in order of best selling. Today's featured product is Mensa, Make Earth Not Suck Again. Again, save 20 to 60% site-wide. The sale is almost over. So pick up your merch items now, get some Christmas shopping out of the way, and make Earth not suck again. It's part of the reason we make these videos. And of course, today, I'm wearing the best-selling product, which contains words that shall not be mentioned, as this video is destined for YouTube. Citing the fact that your health privacy is a thing is not controversial at all. The idea that it is controversial is fully idiotic. And the concept that you have to divulge any protected health information to anybody, you don't even have to divulge it to your doctor, ultimately. The Health Insurance Portability and Accountability Act of 1996 did not evaporate because of the occurrences in the year 2020. So act local and think global. Make Earth not suck again. Not sure how well America's doing with its process to not sucking. But hey, let's act local and think global and make Earth not suck again. You can find the links on the homepage there at smashomash.com, as well as a link to the red bubble shop below this video. It'll show you in order of best selling. Smashomash.com. Welcome to the Neo Renaissance. Help us out with clicks. Visit us on social media. You can still find our Patreon there. You want to support us that way, feel free. PayPal link. Also links to Facebook, Minds, Gab, Getter, Locals, rather. Our Facebook group, a permanent invite link to our Discord chat, Instagram, and of course, Twitter, Hemp, Lucid, and SureMed. Improve your health with a membership to SureMed. It's not insurance, although it does allow you to purchase some group insurance, only available to SureMed members. It's the American Better Health Organization, focused on improving the health of its members. Get doctors by phone, counselors by phone, virtual veterinarians, huge discounts on dental and vision, and at the retail and mail-order pharmacy. Present your SureMed card at your pharmacy. Get a discount on top of whatever your prescription drug plan offers. The SureMed base membership alone is fantastic. Check out some group insurance also if you like. Get the Plus membership. It adds accident insurance to your SureMed membership. Press like, press subscribe, press share, leave a comment. We need your help to get our videos onto people's screens. Look at the pathetic number of views. 115 views yesterday. It's only the most detailed space weather videos you'll find anywhere in the world, and the most spectacular imagery of the sun you'll find anywhere. Press that share button, etc., and let's get to solar flares. So we had these 6 flares here in pretty rapid succession. One of them was an M-class flare, M1.25, I believe it was. There you go. So a big uptick there from sunspot 2141, and a general uptick there in the radio flux and the X-ray flux background profile. So here's the last 24 hours in 131 angstroms. And believe it or not, I think most of that plasma collapsed back toward the chromosphere. You can actually see it happening there. So don't be surprised to see continued flaring here as the magnetic configuration of these sunspot groups has not gotten any less complex. Don't be surprised to even see an X-class flare. Likelihood of coronal mass ejections near 100%. We'll get to it in a moment, and why. If you're looking at the sky early in the morning, you might see the moon with a bright object right next to it. That would be Mars. The moon and the Mars very close to each other, near the ecliptic at the moment. That's Lehigh Valley, Pennsylvania's sky. Here is the solar system forecast. Let's advance this 1 week. Here's where things will be in a week. We will have a crescent waning moon. Next, we'll look at some coronagraphs. Coronal mass ejection activity was pretty weak here over the past 24 hours. No major CMEs, apparently. There was a Type 4 radio burst, but it did not appear to include a coronal mass ejection. If a huge amount of plasma gets partially pushed out and then it collapses back down, it can still produce a radio burst, which is, I believe, what happened. There's today's coronagraph so far. Let's take a look at some more imagery from Stereo A and Lagrange Point 1, the Soho-Lascaux C3. And not really seeing any CME activity there on Stereo A. There is a bit of missing data there, but I don't think there's anything happening at the moment. There still is a huge amount of plasma in between the Earth and the Sun. So let's take a look at the 24-hour wave view here. There's the last 24 hours. We'll zoom out. A little bit of a CME there off to the southeast. Certainly doesn't look like anything earthly directed. I think it may be on the far side of the sun. And here's the full zoom out. You can see Mercury emerging from behind the coronagraph there. And let's continue on to filaments. So huge number of filaments remain here in between Earth and Sun. Lots of them in the southern hemisphere, lots of them in the northern hemisphere showing up as dark absorption features here. Once again, likelihood of coronal mass ejections in the earthly zone, just this side of 100%. And here's the GOES 16 SUVI for the past about 2.5 hours. And you can see there's still some plasma shifting around there. Around the southwestern portion of sunspot 3141. Here's the last 24 hours in the house favorite wavelength, 171 angstroms. Shout out to Bruce from Brazil. He says, "Oh my God, holy God, dear God." Next, moving to bonus features, satellite charging hazards are minor. They're moving into the Central Pacific Ocean. The GOES electron flux here just in normal levels here, a little bit of a downtick. Again, it looks like the arrival of a rather weak coronal hole high-speed stream. There is the NOAA forecast, no arguments from me there. There's the one-year graph to put the relativistic electrons in context, just in the middle part of the range here. And let's take a look at the F ionosphere, which does indeed show anomalies over places like the central Atlantic Ocean. Here's the vibrational frequency in megahertz, millions of vibrations per second. There's a lot of shaking going on. And some of it is at a low-frequency anomalous level. It might be more evident from the anomalygram, so let's take a look at that. You see all that red around the central Atlantic Ocean. Huge low-frequency anomalies there for a couple of days now. And they are rather persistent. West Africa, Central Atlantic, the Caribbean, also some over Hawaii. Here's the latest image. That's 11:15 Universal Time. And seeing some high-frequency anomalies down here. Low frequency anomalies at the moment over places like India. Next, your total electron content forecast for the North American continent. It'll show you the most likely places for GPS errors. That's your total electron content. Here is the standard deviation. And the anomalygram. So some low electron anomalies happening there. Let that play through one more time. It's an electron shortage over the southern U.S. Interestingly enough. Continuing on to our latest intensitygram and latest colorized magnetogram. Do we have a new sunspot over here? Well, we certainly don't. Is this group a sunspot? Not really. Anyway, here's your rock back. Pretty obvious what to watch here. Sunspot 3141. It's producing some activity as we stream. So how about some more imagery here from SDO? We'll close out the space weather section with these composites. And the browse data features a little bit jerky. Let's move on to our meteorology segment. So let's take a look at sea surface temperature. How about sea surface temperature anomaly? And we'll also look at currents. We haven't done that for a while. Let's see what's going on with the Gulf Stream. Well, it still exists. Lots of hot water here, anomalously hot water off the coast of eastern Canada. Check it out, you're talking about 11 degrees above normal there. Hot water. Yowzers. 11 degrees Fahrenheit above normal there. Oh my God, the North Pacific is also hot. Let's don't talk about the huge portion of the equatorial Pacific, which is anomalously cold for years in a row. All right, let's move on to our standard surface winds. There you go, surface winds of the eastern world. Jet streams of the east. Jet streams of the west. Surface winds of the west. Huge anticyclone here in the north central Atlantic. Clockwise rotation. Here are the surface winds of the central world and the jet streams. Huge upper level high pressure there over north central Europe. Places like Germany and France. Probably clear skies. All right, let's continue on here. Here is our NASA GOES interactive weather satellite shortwave radiation map showing clouds and fog over the Americas as the sun rises over the Atlantic. We've got some heavy rains coming to the eastern U.S. Tornado watches for large portions of South Carolina and North Carolina. This is your weather.gov map, weather.gov. If your county is lit, click your county. Is your county lit, yo? There is the key. Freeze warnings coming to Texas and Oklahoma. Yowzers. Let's take a look at our pressure and precipitation forecast here as the snow finally chills out. Currently some ice storms there in southeastern Canada. So that's the way that Hurricane Remnant is going to make its way into Pennsylvania and New York. That's a 72-hour GFS pressure and precipitation forecast. Here's your 72-hour total accumulated precipitation forecast. That is precipitation in inches. Some heavy rains coming to Pennsylvania, West Virginia, Ohio, and New York. And here is your temperature anomaly forecast. Very anomalously cold temperatures there for especially North Dakota. That is anomaly in degrees Celsius based on the GFS model for the next 72 hours. Next, your pressure forecast. This is the European model for pressure. We will let this advance. Strong low there moving toward Greenland. Just kind of hanging out off the southeast coast. And there is your European forecast model for pressure in about 3 days. Next, NASA GOES lightning mapper. Looks like we do have some terrestrial lightning there over South Carolina, perhaps. We definitely had some over Texas, Oklahoma, Nebraska, Missouri, and Arkansas. Let's take a look at if there are any terrestrial strikes at the moment. Just one. That is some swampy looking area. Anyway, next time you hear thunder, check it out, lightningmaps.org. And let's do our U.S. Doppler radar. There's some heavy moisture making its way up from Atlanta up to western Pennsylvania now. We'll focus on the lower 48. And please bear with us. We've got to resubmit. We've got to resubmit our satellite imagery for the shortwave radiation and the water vapor. So here we go. There's shortwave radiation for the lower 48, showing clouds and fog over a largely dark country. Here is water vapor. As we do our part to make Earth not suck again by citing fact after fact. I know it's very controversial, and in 2022, it's very controversial. Thank you, Elon, for fixing free speech. Thanks, Elon. You're doing a fine job. A fine job. U.S. Doppler radar map. Shortwave radiation showing clouds and fog. And water vapor is where we will close things out. Smash-o here, and congratulations on realizing the channel exists. Press like, subscribe, share, etc. Visit our links. Shop at our shops. The items are splentacular. Perhaps get yourself a Fauci Face of Evil bath mat and dance around on Fauci's face as I did this morning. But it is time to close this thing out. So thanks again for tuning in. May that solar wind be at your back.